Welcome to Paul and Saul. I'm Saul. He's Paul. Paul, how you doing?
I'm doing better than I deserve, man. I'm ready for another banger.
Dude, we are going to knock this one out big time this week because we got some pretty good stories. Just to go through them really quick, talking about the surtax vote, a story that the NAACP kind of put on our radar about Gap Creek that involves the surtax committee that you're going to talk about, talking about cameras on cars on base, Hall of Fame also named, and then finally we're going to talk over the death of a beloved businesswoman here in the local community. So with that, I think that we should probably do the dance. Should we do the dance?
Yeah, let's do the dance.
Let's do it. So, we've been talking a lot about good stuff that's happened in our area, but let's talk about one of the hard things that we've had. And special thanks to Eglin Federal Credit Union for sponsoring this show of Paul and Saul. If you have any financial needs, they're really great for credit cards, car loans, things like that. But we have to talk about a hard thing today, and that's the death of beloved businesswoman in our area, Elizabeth Campbell. Campbell was on a walk a little bit, I guess we should say, this past weekend, when she was hit and killed by an elderly driver that was driving in the Blue Water Bay area. A tough thing to see happen. And I guess the question that I want to ask, about this whole thing, and as I pull up my notes, I'll tell you, this person was 84 years old, according to some reporting that has taken place over the last couple of days. Should we require a driver test at that age? What do you think, man?
Probably. I mean, a lot of people are saying, that age was a major component here. I'm not 100% sure that's necessarily true. That's an easy thing to jump to.
Mm-hmm.
Blue Water Bay is known for its trees, its walkable paths, its bike lane and golf cart lanes. It's historically been a pretty safe area to walk in, although we've had some injuries and we've had, Mrs. Campbell isn't the first person to be hit by a car in that community. I just think we need better awareness overarchingly about how we drive and distracted driving. Person that hit her could have easily been, a 20-something-year-old or a 30-something-year-old. It's just a crazy tragedy. Clearly the person who hit her did not have an intent to hit her. So it's a pain for that person and that person's family as well. And Elizabeth Campbell was a pillar of our community. Her and her husband started McCaskill and Company, the jewelry store in Destin. They employ a lot of locals. Their daughter is married to a coach at Niceville High School. So this just, is a painful thing for our community all around. And I just, I'm at a loss of words on kind of what to say about it, other than just to continue to pray for all of those involved. It's just a terrible accident.
Yeah, and I think it's one of those hard things that we end up having to talk about on a news show. That's not everybody's favorite thing to talk about for very good reason. But so one of the things I wanted to bring up, I was doing some research because that was the question that was posed to me about this story. Was how old is too old? When do we start testing people more frequently? Things like that. So I went and checked in, like what do other states do? And a whole lot of other states don't really do anything. We're pretty in the mold when it comes to that. Only differences I could find were in Arizona, individuals age 65 and older need to renew their license every 5 years compared to every 12 years for younger drivers. Pennsylvania, drivers 65 and older can opt in for a 2-year renewal period instead of 4. And in Illinois, this was the most restrictive one I could find. They shortened the renewal period to 2 years for drivers 81 to 86, and then to a 1-year renewal period thereafter. But all states have a rule where a medical professional can basically pull your individual license and have you forced to retake a test. And so it's interesting because Florida, the only big change that you have after a certain age is that after you turn 80, you have a 6-year renewal period instead of an 8-year renewal period, and you have a vision test that's mandatory after you turn 80. So, I mean, those are really.
I want to say one more thing about this. Like, I think that that's all good. And like, we should probably have more checks. But to act like that would have stopped this from occurring is, just conjecture. We know nothing about the person who was driving and their mental or physical faculties. So what I would urge the community to concentrate on is Niceville is going to have more paths, multi-purpose paths. We are going to have more walkability, more able to ride bikes and golf carts than we ever have had before. We've got the kids on scooters nowadays. We just have to do a better job as a community at watching out for pedestrians, for walkers, runners, bicyclists, people on e-bikes. Like, we just have to do a better job, and we're going to have to do a better job because there's going to be more of it. Like, we want our community to be walkable and rideable. And the county and the community, the cities and jurisdictions are putting more money into those things. Again, I think it's great. We should probably have more checks, but let's not have conjecture that would have, saved Miss Campbell in this situation. We just don't have enough information to make that a valid argument.
Very good. Well, surtax vote is ahead. This is a big one for you, Paul. There is a surtax that we have, the half-cent sales tax. You may have heard of it if you have been local here for a couple of years. Basically, this is the sales tax that is supposed to be used for infrastructure improvement, things like stormwater, building new buildings that we may need, roadways, things of that nature. The county commission has taken the first step to get this sales tax back onto your ballot in November. That means that you will have an up or down vote as to whether or not we should renew this sales tax. State law requires it to be in a general election, so that's why you wouldn't see it in like a municipal or a primary election, something like that. And it would maintain the existing half cent for infrastructure specifically. There's another one for school districts, which was passed a little bit later. It also, basically the same thing would happen again. There'd be more money in the pot for things like the Crestview reliever route, stormwater infrastructure. And the only thing I'll say before I pass it off to the actual expert and Paul is that the ballot language is going to basically say you were either for the 1 cent for the 1/2 cent sales tax or against the 1/2 cent sales tax. It should be pretty obvious which one is which. But with that, Paul, I mean, you've got a lot to say about this because you happen to be on the sales tax committee. So tell us a little bit about it.
Yeah, absolutely. So obviously I'm a proponent of this. We have had some people comment about the size of government and the spending at Okaloosa County and the very jurisdictions. I want to go on the record that I am definitely for smaller government, and I'm definitely for not wasting money. But these are two separate issues. Like, I think we can run our own little Doge and we can make sure that we're not wasting money while simultaneously voting yes for this. This is a multiplier. It is, a good chunk of it is paid by the tourists who visit here. It's also then multiplied by matching state grants and federal grants. It's just a great way to bring in millions upon millions of dollars for infrastructure that's done here, and it's not paid for as significantly as it could be through our taxes or through some other tax means. So definitely for it.
And I would say, the other thing that I consider when I'm looking at this is like, there's a difference between being conservative and being cheap. Conservative means being wise, a wise steward of what you have to make sure it lasts longer. I mean, you can buy a, brand new Maserati if you want, but if you run it up and down the trails, in the backwoods around Laurel Hill all day, every day, it's not going to last forever. And it's not a good use of your money, right? You should probably get like a Jeep or something. So I think that being conservative and being a good steward of the money is different than just not fixing things, because that's where I think we are at this point.
Yeah, and I would tell the general public to do two things. One, I would tell them to vote yes on this. And then two, I would tell them right now, depending on what jurisdiction you live in, if you live within a city, then you need to go to your city manager and your council there and let them know about infrastructure issues that are happening in your city and town and make sure that they're on their list. And if you live in the county, you need to do the same thing at the county level, right? The lists are being made now for this. We're assuming that this will pass because it's been such a positive thing for the community. So lists are being made draft lists are being made right now, to start creating those future projects for our community.
Yeah, and I think that I was looking this up. The last surtax was approved by a 25% margin in 2018, but that doesn't mean it's a guaranteed thing. Measures in the 90s and the 2000s failed. So I don't think this is a 25% is a lot, right? And I think that kind of shows like what the need is. But it's not a guaranteed thing, and I think people should act accordingly, especially if you're in favor of something like this, because of what statisticians call negative response bias. People that are very against something tend to show up at the polls way more frequently than people that are mildly for it, for obvious reasons. I would think.
Yeah, and I would argue that these funds have been used wisely in comparison to some other things. But I would still, I'm talking to you, Dave from Holt. Like, keep the pressure on your local and county officials to spend the money wisely. I don't think that the government should just balloon and spend a ton of money. But I really do think that these infrastructure dollars are helping our community, and they're a huge net positive.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, we're going to pay for it one way or the other. We're either going to pay for it in half-cent sales tax or in property tax or on the repair bill for your axles of your cars because the roads are gone. Your call. Anyway, speaking of half-cent sales tax projects, we had a press release come in from the NAACP, and we decided to take a bigger, more intense look at it. And so Trisha over here at Mid-Bay News put together this story. You can find it on our website right now. But what was really interesting about it was the NAACP said, hey, we feel like we've been ignored for the last however many 40, 50 years, especially when it comes to, as you can see down here in this picture, stormwater infrastructure in the Sylvania Heights area of town, Fort Walton Beach. And I showed this to you before the show, and I was like, hey, man, what do you think about this? He was like, I'm going to send it to Scott Bitterman over at the County Public Works office right now. But we also, Trisha, went and learned from the Public Information Office at the county that they have four or five projects that they have on the list. Now, that doesn't mean it's done, doesn't mean it's fast enough, but they're on the list.
Yeah, I mean, I think this is one of those cases of, when is the best time to plant a tree? The best time to have fixed this was 20, 30 years ago, obviously. But the next best time to plant a tree is now. And so I'm glad this is being addressed. I'm glad to see the article was very well written, so kudos to her. People should definitely go read it. And it does seem like county is planning to include this in their plans. And I will do the best I can in my position to find out what's going on with it and to see if it can be prioritized a little more highly, because it's things like this that have gone on for so long that probably need to be addressed sooner.
Yeah, and so the biggest problem that we found with this article, or I guess Trisha found in this article, is not only that this has been kind of neglected for the longest time, but also that it goes through about 427 different jurisdictions. Gap Creek is what causes a lot of this stormwater runoff to flood neighborhoods, and Gap Creek happens to start on Herbert Field's property, go from there to the county, from the county into the city of Fort Walton Beach, from the city of Fort Walton Beach onto DOT land, from DOT land back to Fort Walton Beach, then back to the county, and then into Cinco Bayou. So you have, I think, at least 5 government agencies that are kind of doing one of these, right? And nobody wants to spend money because they would much prefer, the state would much prefer for the county to spend the money, and the county would rather have the city do it, and the city would rather have the federal government take care of it. And so you kind of get one of these, like, until the music stops.
Yeah, I mean, I'll kind of contradict one of the things you said. Like, I don't know that the county has that stance. The county oftentimes partners with the various jurisdictions to share costs and to split projects. So I could see this as a great candidate for the county to throw dollars in, and then each of the municipalities to use some of their dollars as well. And that to me would be like the great end to this story, is that the half-cent sales tax dollars that go to not only the county but to the various jurisdictions, everybody ponied up to fix this problem for the citizens. I think that's probably the direction it will head. It would also be nice if the base and the feds like helped as well. I'm not sure how that's going to work out, but starting with the county and going down, I think it could be addressed by a team effort.
Yeah, absolutely. And I think that maybe I should be more precise and say, I think that if it were up to the county, right, the best option is for somebody else to pay for it. And the next best option is for us to only pay some of it and bear some of the cost with other agencies, right? Like you said, I think that's the most likely way for it to get done, because everybody goes home with a win, right? The county and the city can say, look, we didn't pay for the whole thing, but we fixed it. And the feds or the state can say, yeah, we helped out. So it's always kind of a win that way. But speaking of federal government and government installations, there is a new rule which I do not know how they're going to enforce this one, man. Like I want this to make sense. It makes sense that you don't want people recording Air Force bases because of the whole national security and the our nation's near peers wanting as much intelligence as is humanly possible to get. So they've banned car cameras, and I don't know how one does that now.
Well, they're banning filming. They're not
Sure.
You can't ban a backup camera. You can't ban the cameras that are used and the sensors used for the cars. But I mean, this is pretty typical around and other government agencies, whether DoD or not, that you can't walk around with a cell phone camera or a GoPro and film stuff. Like, I'm actually shocked they hadn't had a rule sooner.
Yeah. Well, I remember from my TV days, we would have a big camera, with the photographer that I was with, and we would be near a base. Like I think we were filming something at Lewis and we pointed it the wrong way.
Yeah.
And we learned very quickly that security forces does not appreciate being filmed.
It's true.
Yeah. Yeah. That was a fun talking to. They were very polite about it. Firm, but polite. Anyway, last thing to talk about today, Hall of Fame is all Niceville Eagles this time around. The All Sports Association named two of the greatest Eagles to their All Sports Association Hall of Fame. If you're not familiar with that, the All Sports Association is the kind of, I would say, like the do-gooder organization that relates to sports.
Sure.
They raise money for everything from fields and equipment. But they named Niceville Eagles head coach John Hicks, who was 154-57 with 0 losing seasons as the head coach at Niceville High School, 11 district championships and 18 playoff appearances as the head guy over there as well. And then Danton Barlow, the guy that you can see on the right. Barlow was one of the Do you remember that Darren Sharper video? The guy that did the Madden thing was like one of the hardest hitting safeties in the league, but I put the team on my back though. Like Danton Barlow was one of the hardest hitting linebackers in Florida high school football. He, I think, still may, but at least at one point had the most number of tackles for both the Niceville Eagles and the Memphis Tigers in a single seasons, obviously. And he was one of the captains for the 1988 Niceville Eagles High School state championship football team. So named both of these guys to the event. Hicks, of course, was there in person, talked a lot about the guys that helped him get there. Bartow, sadly, he passed away due to complications from COVID in 2021. But his older brother and his younger sister were there to accept the award on his behalf. And so it was a great ceremony. We got to hear from Judge Mike Flowers, who's one of John Hicks's closest friends. And Coach Adron Robinson also spoke at the event. So it was a full house with a lot of Niceville luminaries talking about good old times and times present as well.
Well, listen, I was class of 1998, so I was squarely in the Coach John Hicks era. He was a legend, and he had an aura about him when he walked around on campus. I remember him, Coach Coleman, Coach Adron. They're all legends in our community. So big shout out to Coach Hitz. This was probably long overdue. He probably should have been in sooner. I still see you, Coach Hicks, working out every day at Workout Anytime Fitness in Niceville. He's a legend, and I love him. He's fantastic.
It's cool to see them get these honors and these accolades, because I remember coming here in 2016 as a new reporter, and as all reporters do in television news and local television news, you do work Friday nights no matter what. And so I got to see a lot of Niceville high school football as a television reporter, and then again as the midday news guy. We're consuming a lot of Eagle football, considering the fact that they're very good and people want to watch them. Pretty good indicator that we should be covering them. So it's good to see him win, but 157-54 to average 7 wins a season is pretty good, considering you don't really always know what you're going to get from a high school team, especially in an Air Force town where everybody rotates every 3 years.
Yeah, this was numbers. This was before the age of recruiting, and pulling players from all over the place. Hey, one more thing I want to add to our agenda ad hoc. Tonight is Niceville's Chamber of Commerce Awards ceremony. It's being held in the new Okaloosa Gas headquarters, located in Valpy on Government Avenue. I got a tour of that building yesterday, and it is amazing. Shout out to Okaloosa Gas. Shout out to DAG Architecture, who designed it. My friend Pat Balish designed that building. It is amazing and beautiful. Yeah, absolutely.
That's really cool.
You're going to love it. We're going to be there tonight. If anyone else is there, please come and talk to Paul and to Saul and enjoy the nice evening. I think jeans and sport coats, right?
That's right. Steve Shutt decided that we were going to wear jeans and sport coats, and he's going to MC the event. We're very excited because we love Steve Shutt. I'm actually contractually obligated to do that as part of my lease here. So anyway, that's what I've got. Paul, encourage the people. Tell the women.
Yeah, everybody in Walton County, everybody in Okaloosa County, and especially here in Niceville. Be nice, everybody. Have a blessed day.